Speech class in downtown Salem. I've met three strangers here who are willing to hear my speech, and we're going to see if we can change some minds with our persuasive speech. First, we have
Kyle,
Eddie,
Curly.
I'm going to pass the camera. Good to Eddie. All right. So the first question I want to ask you guys, just as something to keep in your head as we go through this, and we'll touch base on it about halfway through the speeches. What is the point of breast? So with that, we're going to start in. So should public breastfeeding be something that is allowed to continue, or should it be banned? There's a lot of the questions a lot of people would ask. And some of the opponents who would say, why are women even breastfeeding when we have formula? When you take a look at the formula breakdown, in the first 6 months of breastfeeding, formula alone would cost $1,000, and that's just for 6 months. Mothers usually breastfeed for about a year. Whereas the setup, if you get a pump, a blanket, a support pillow, you're looking at about $600. So even just the cost ratio immediately in the first 6 months is so much better for mothers. The Surgeon General also put out an article about 2 years ago calling mothers back to doing breastfeeding. It has anti-inflammatory purposes. It is also immunological, so it does a great job of making sure that the baby's bones and development continues in the way that it should, as well as staves off a lot of sicknesses that can be avoided. It's better for the environment. Obviously, we're going to skip a lot of the waste from formula cans, bottles, because after baby's done feeding, when you do with all those bottles, they're probably going to end up in a landfill or Goodwill or something like that. So we have a couple of small reasons why mothers should continue to breastfeeding. Why do we even question the public breastfeeding? Is it offensive to some people? Do some people see it as inappropriate? Which I think leads us to the question that we had before. So I'll ask you guys real quick, and you don't need to worry about pointing the camera, but what do you think the point of breast is?
it's a body part.
Okay.
It's something natural that mothers use to feed their
Okay.
children.
And being a mother myself, I never paid much attention to my breasts until I had a child who needed them to survive.
Yeah.
So, they can be anything you want them to be, but for babies, they're very important with feeding.
It's their feeding source.
It's their food source.
So I definitely think that I'm sure downtown you guys have already seen ads today that society tells us that boobs are for marketing, they're there for profits. And nature tells us that breasts are for the sustenance of life, just like you said. So I fully agree with you there. In a recent social experiment, YouTuber Joey Salads went out with two ladies. One lady was dressed what we would consider maybe a little bit scantily clad. She had a lot of boobs showing, shorts, and he also went with a mother who was breastfeeding, and they go to a bench inside of a mall. First, the girl who is dressed very sexily sits down. A lot of guys walk by, check her out. One guy even comes up and hits on her, but other than that, nobody really says anything. So they set the mother down, who has much less showing, and 3 or 4 people walked up to her and say, that's gross. And one lady sits down and kind of, talks to her. It's an expecting mother talks to her about it. When they were side by side, one guy actually walks up. So we have the breastfeeding mother and the girl who's dressed very sexily. They're standing side by side. The guy walks up into the mother and says, that's disgusting, you shouldn't do it in public. And they address him and say, well, what's the difference between her with her boobs out and her while she's breastfeeding? And the guy says, that's sexy and that's not. So right there we can kind of see where we're talking about society says that boobs are for sexiness and for profits and marketing, whereas nature says it's for feeding. And I'm going to slaughter these names. One of the differences could have been found by scientists Angiska Zelenikowicz and Boguslaw Pawlowski. They did a test and they found that men, and there was a conduction to see if men were going to be more towards one-night stands or long-term relationships, and they found that men who were more prone to one-night stands, they preferred bigger boobs over men who were looking for a committed relationship. It wasn't as big of an issue. One conclusion came from that is that men want to know that the breasts that they are looking at are going to be for them, not somebody else. Another YouTuber, Christina Kuzmic, says, put your boobs away, ladies, unless they're dairy-free, and show them off. So another thing to think about is convenience for mothers. You know, especially for you having breastfed before, you probably didn't want to feel like you were shackled to your home, that you couldn't go out into public because you had a breastfeed, right? And some people might say, well, you know, you can pump, but you know, babies prefer warm milk. It's not always easy to find a microwave to warm it up in.
And pumping can be painful. It's not like, oh yay, pump. No, I've even myself bruises pumping.
Plus, would one of you guys want to put your head under a blanket while you eat, or go into a dirty bathroom? No. So, with that being said, breastfeeding should be used appropriately as not an excuse to expose oneself for unnecessary attention. With this conclusion, we can find that breastfeeding in public, it is better economically and naturally for a baby. Even though society tells us that breasts are for profit, they're actually for the sustaining of life. We should be celebrating mothers and supporting them. And breastfeeding should not be used for anything other than its intended purpose, and bad press is not a good thing for that. So thank you guys for taking the time out, listening to my speech, and finally getting that third take to go. I appreciate it, guys.